Andy's time is now.
Yeah. If you look at the return, let me pull it all up. If you look at the returning production, obviously doesn't look very good, right? 91st on offense. They lost their leading rusher, but they bring back their quarterback, Tyson Pomachan. I learned how to say his name. In the games that they lost last year, and I thought it was interesting. In the games they lost to Eastern Michigan, Toledo, Miami, Ohio, Connecticut. Those are 4 teams that are on their schedule again. They're playing a MAC schedule, literally playing 7 or 6 MAC teams or 5 MAC teams because they're going to the MAC next year. But I thought that this team slightly got worse on offense, but their defense is about the same. Should be fine. But I thought my main love for this team is I think their schedule sets up perfectly. They have the games where they're going to be their bye games where they're going to get their asses kicked, but I think it sets up perfectly for them. I think having a quarterback that can run, they brought in a running, they kept their running back that had about 200 yards last year. He was behind a 1,000-yard rusher who went to Michigan State. So you can't control. This team lost 2 of their top 2 rushers. Both of them are going to be playing for a Big Ten school, and then Memphis, who might make the college football playoff. So they lost a lot of talent there, but they had guys behind them. Don Brown always has a good running back. Their quarterback situation's clearer now because Pomachan had to watch behind him last year. When Davis was at quarterback, Davis is gone now. They're backup now. This guy, he can throw, he can run as well. So I think they'll have a freer offense. So I like the way that they're going to move the ball down the field. Really, that was the thing, and I thought their schedule set up perfectly. So I want to know how you feel about it.
Okay, so I agree with a lot of what you said. They lost some weapons, but I like the weapons they brought in. They brought in 2 tight ends, one from San Jose State and one from I didn't write down where the other one was from, but they brought in 2 tight ends through the portal, which is nice for Taysom, the quarterback. Definitely like the weapons at receiver. They brought back their leading wide receiver, lost the rest of them, but they brought in a couple through the portal. A guy named Keyshawn Brown from Duquesne. It's probably going to be WR3 out there. Here's the thing. I'm a little worried about the pass protection. Probably pull up Taysom's numbers when pressured last year. Now, he did miss a chunk of the season, and we're talking about small sample size. I think he only played in 7 games. Definitely a huge drop-off in production when this kid saw pressure. This offensive line lost 3 starters. Are they going to be able to protect them? Now, something else. People, when you talk about a quarterback taking pressure, we always go to the offensive line, right? That's where we think to look. There are other places to look. Having backs to dump it off to can help with that, and having tight ends like the 2 they just brought in through the portal. So I don't know. I don't know much about UMass offensive line. I know that they lost 3 starters. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on it. But if they are able to protect Taysom behind the line of scrimmage,
Pomachan.
I wasn't even going to try it. Pomachan. They were able to protect Pomachan behind the line of scrimmage. Then this offense should move. It should be better than last year.
And like I said, a lot of it is because I think their schedule is going to set up right for them. But I really do think this team's going to be improved from what they were last year. We mentioned that he didn't play a couple of games last year. The guy that came in was really good, actually. Carlton Davis, who's not there anymore. I think he graduated. And we're going to talk. I'll bring it up more at the schedule. But the reason it sets up well is because 2 of their losses last year are 2 teams they didn't play, obviously. Are 2 games that Pomachan did not play in as well, and I think that sets up good. They were close losses too, so I think
I like that. I like that as well. And the defense. Okay, so probably go to the UMass's defensive stats, please. Spoiler alert: they're terrible. But here's the thing: normally, when you look at returning production, you're like, oh, they lost a bunch of starters, and UMass did lose a bunch of starters on defense. Is that necessarily a bad thing? Because this team did well in the portal. They brought in a corner from Notre Dame, Ryan Barnes. They brought in an edge rusher from Wake Forest. I didn't even write down his name. They brought in a linebacker from Dartmouth. He was first team All Ivy League last year. So first team All Ivy League Conference last year, linebacker. So they lost a bunch of starters, but the defense was shit last year. So losing a bunch of starters and bringing in new faces through the portal, there's nowhere to go but up. So I actually think UMass's defense takes a step up despite losing a bunch of starters. Keep in mind, like I said, this is one of the worst defenses in college football last year. So UMass is going to be better. And I like how you mentioned they play a lot of revenge games on here. We just talked about the Eastern Michigan game in week 1. That could be a win. We both alluded to how we think that might be a win. So let's go ahead and pull the schedule up, Prop Beaver.
Yeah.
We said that Eastern Michigan would win either that one or the next one. For this purpose, let's say they lose this one and beat Jacksonville State. How about that?
Yeah, I think that's how it will. I think it's more likely that that's how it will go.
So let's go ahead and look at UMass schedule. Eastern Michigan, week 1, W. At Toledo, winnable? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, that's not a. It's a lot.
Oh no! I thought you said Eastern. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you for a second. I don't know if you did that.
No, that's a loss. At Buffalo's winnable.
That's
dude.
a win. I got it for a win.
Okay. You're talking up for a win already. They're gonna beat the underdogs in the game.
Yeah. Well, that's fine.
Well, if
I think it'll be slight though. I don't think it'll be that much.
If you're giving them the Buffalo game, we're giving them Central Connecticut, so we're already at 3, and we only.
I'm aware. That's why I like this team.
At Miami, Ohio lost. At Northern Illinois lost. Missouri lost.
They're hosting Missouri for some reason. They're hosting. Missouri's going to them. That's a weird one. So that'll be a loss. But
Wagner's your 4th win, and then UConn's winnable at the end.
Yeah, I have them getting 5 wins this year. I really like it. And that Eastern Michigan game, just to drill that Eastern Michigan game in, last year they lost Eastern Michigan 19-17. Pomachon didn't play, and their leading rusher in that game got hurt at the end of the game, so he wasn't in for their final drive. So like they probably should have won that EMU game anyway because Pomachon would have started. So that's why I love that turning into a win. I like the Buffalo win. Playing 2 FCS teams is what it is. I think this is a 5-win team, and I'm surprised because I don't think UConn. And we're about to talk about UConn. That game was close last year too, or they played UConn last year too, and UConn was much better than they were last year. And so I think this is a winnable game this year.
Let's do it. UMass over. We're on it.
Only lost by 2 touchdowns.
Next up, UConn. Not the biggest UConn guy here, Andy.
I'm not the biggest either.
Yeah. So I mean, this kid Nick Evers finally gets to play, right? If you don't know who Nick Evers is, he was very highly recruited.